Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm my friend Steve. When you think of One Piece, what comes to mind? Grand adventurers, hilarious crew, epic battles, and the unshakable dream of Monkey D. Luffy to become king of the pirates. It's a world painted in vibrant colors, filled with wonder and laughter. But behind that bright exterior lurks one of the darkest, most disturbing universes ever put to paper. Today we are diving deep into that shadow. We are setting aside the comedy and the glory to uncover 20 of the most disturbing, spine chilling facts One Piece has to offer. These are the truths that keep fan up tonight, the backstories that scar your soul, and the secrets that remind us all that freedom in this world comes at an unspeakable price. So let's start the 20 darkest fact about One Piece. Let's start. Fact number 20, the Void Sanctuary and the Ancient Kingdom's extermination. The very foundation of the world government is built on genocide. 800 years ago, an enormous, highly advanced civilization, the Ancient Kingdom, was completely wiped out. The 20 allied kingdoms that defeated it erased every record, every artifact, and a full century of history from the collective memory of mankind. They call it the Void Century. Anyone who even attempts to research his forbidden era is marked for death. The entire global order, the celestial dragons, the rule the marine fort, headquarters, all stand atop a mountain of corpses. The true name of that kingdom is Ideals, and the sin committed against it remain the world's greatest secret. Fact number 19, the O'Hara Massacre. If anyone doubted how far the world government would go to protect its lives, the island of O'Hara it's the proof. A community of archaeologists peacefully studying the pornography was decimated by a buster call, a military operation that rains indiscriminate destruction from 10 battleships, man, woman, children, even the island's ancient tree of knowledge, all reduced to ash. Why? Vice Admiral Akainu went so far as to blow up an evacuation ship full of civilians just to ensure no scholar slipped through. The only survivor was an 8-year old girl named Nico Robin. Fact number 18. The celestial dragons human livestock. In the holy land of Merijoas, the so-called descendants of the world's creators live like gods. To the to them, ordinary humans are less than insects. Their property. Slaves are bought, branded with the hoof of the celestial dragon, and treated worse than animals. They are forced to crawl like dogs, hidden as mounts, and killed for sport. The Boa sisters, Hancock and Sonia and Marigold, were abducted as children, fed devil fruit as a form of abusement, and spent years in chains watching friends die. The scar on Fisher Tiger's chest wasn't just a brand, it was a mark of supreme. Fact number 17. Fisher Tiger's broken heart. Fisher Tiger, the legendary fishman, pirate, did the unthinkable. He attacked Mary Jaws with his bare hands and freed the slaves, regardless of their race. But the darkness didn't end there. Later, grievously wounded and in desperate need of blood transfusion, he refused human blood, not out of hate, but because the pain and trauma of slavery and poisoned his soul so deeply he could not bring himself to accept it. The hero who preached coexistence between fishman and human die on the floor of ship, his heart too heavy with scar to let him live. Fact number 16. The White City of Flevens. Trafalgar Water Loss. Childhood is straight of a medical horror. Flevens, the White City, was rich in a mineral called amber lead. The substance was beautiful, incredibly profitable, and lethally poisonous. It accumulated in the bodies of citizens, causing their skin to within, granting them a slow, agonizing death. The neighboring countries terrify, quarantine the entire nation when the world government saw profit in hiding the disease. They order a complete extermination. Soldiers burn the city, shooting down, fleeing civilians, including children. Low hide under a mountain of corpses, the only survivor of an entire nation. Fact number 15. Doflamingo's evilness. Don Quixote Doflamingo is pure evil, but the genesis of that evil is horrifyingly human. As a child, he killed his own father, the kind nay, a former celestial dragon who had renounced his status, dooming the family to a life of poverty and mob hatred. Doflamingo presented his father's head to a celestial dragons, hoping to be taken back. When they refused, the seed of a full monster was fully planted. Years later, he would shoot his younger brother Rosinante, the one person who loved him. When he shoot in a Rosinante full of cold blood, Rosinante died smiling, using his last breath to save Law. It's a cycle of a familiar murder that stands as one of the series' most emotionally brutal moments. Fact number 14. Big Mom's cannibalistic birthday. Charlotte Lilin, the future Emperor Big Mom, had a strange, idyllic childhood on Elwap under the watchful eye of Mother Carmel. But on her sixth birthday, while overcome by a maniac hunger pang for Semla, she devoured everything in sight. When the frenzy ended, everyone was gone. Her friends, the orphanage, children, and Mother Carmel. There were only scattered clothes and blood. Unknowingly, Lin Lin had eaten every single person she loved, and in doing so, inherited the Soru Soru no Mi powers that had resided inside Carmel. This unspeakable act of unintentional cannibalism created the bottomless, unstable void of soul that defines Big Mom. Fact number 13. Mother Carmel's real trait. As if that weren't dark enough, the truth about Mother Carmel is a masterstroke of hidden horror. The believed Holy Mother of the orphanage of No Saint, she was an underworld child trafficker. For decades, she raised orphans only to sell them to the world government, where they would be trained as hyperpole agents or become future servants. The peaceful scene Lillian imagined was a lie. Carmel's holy mission was a front for the cruelest form of a child exploitation, and her death inside Lillian's stomach is a dark, cosmic irony. The series handles with chilling subtlety. Fact number 12. The gigantification experiments on the Punk Hazard. On the Fire Ice Island of Punk Hazard, Caesar Clone, a former government scientist, ran a program to artificially create giants. His test subjects kidnapped children. He gathered them under the pretense of curing their illness, instantly pumping them full of an addictive, mind destroying drug called NHC-10. The children experienced full growth, spurts, withdrawal symptoms, and in many cases, death. Caesar laughed as he recorded their torment. Call it research. The entire facility was a candy coated nightmare factory, and the sight of these oversized, suffering kids still believing they were being healed is an unforgettable gut punch. Fact number 11. The smile fruits and the curse of forced laughter. The suffering of Wano country under Kaido and Orochi is laid deep, but the smile factory represent a uniquely sadistic weapon. Failed smile artificial devil fruits rob a person of their ability to express any emotion other than joy. The citizens of Ebishu town, having eaten the rejects out of starvation, are condemned to laugh hysterically, even as they weep, stare, or watch their loved ones die. The iconic image of a laughing mother holding her murdered child is not just tragic, it's psychological mutilation. It's the death of a sorrow itself, a final, cruel prison of the soul. Fact number 10. The cyborgification of Bartholomew Kuma. Once a revolutionary, a devout father figure to Bonnie, and a man of profound kindness, Bartholomew Kuma now exists as a hollow shell in a gradual, dehumanizing process. The world government transformed him into a complete cyborg weapon. They stripped away his free will piece by piece, mind whipping him until nothing remained of the original person. The Pacifista project used his body as the template for mass produced weapons when the Straw Hats witnessed him guarding the Thousand Sunny with the last vestige of a mission implanted in his dying humanity. It was a sober eulogy for a man erased by the system we once fought. Fact number 9. Portegas T. Rock's unimaginable pregnancy. The execution of Goldie Roger triggered a global purge of anyone who might carry his bloodline. Portegasti Rock, carrying his child, did the physically impossible to protect the unborn ace. She held him in her womb for 20 months, more than double a normal gestation. Through sheer, relentless willpower, this act of love tore her body apart. The moment Ace was born, Rock died, having sacrificed everyone's for her of her life, forced to give her son a chance at living. The world government was so determined to kill an infant that a mother had to blend the very limits of biology to defy them. Fact number 8. The near extinction of the Lunarians. The Lunarians were a race of people who could generate and manipulate flame. Welling atop the red line, they were considered gods. Today, only one is known to exist, King, Kaido's right-hand man. The world government, in its obsession with dominion, hunted the Lunarians to the brink of extinction, placing a bounty of 100 million berries just for information on their whereabouts. A wool species, it is not for any crime, but because they were existence posed a threat to the celestial dragon's claim of divinity. The vast emptiness of the genocide echoes every time when King remove his mask. Fact number 7. The frozen and starving hell of Impel Down. The great prison Impel Down is a monument to suffering below the boiling blood pool. You are find level 5, the frozen hell, where temperatures are so low that Inmates lose limbs to frostbite, yet are kept alive deliberately for punishment. Deeper still is level 6, where prisoners deemed too dangerous to even exist in history are tossed into cells and starving for eternity. Crocodile, Jimbe, and the Shiryu the Rain. We are all kept here, their names erased from the world. The prison is a place of systematic, never ending torture designed to break the human spirit long before death. Fact number 6, the torture of the minks on Zou. The minks of Zou are among the most loyal, peace loving races in the world. When the Beast Pirates commander Jack came looking for the samurai Raizo, they refused to reveal his hiding place. Jack's response was to unleash a hellish campaign of torture. 4 days, the minks were beaten, crucified, and mutilated. Their limbs were severed. Their city burned to the ground. They looked the secret to the brink of annihilation without knowing if Raizo was even alive. The reveal that they had protected him all along while smiling through unimaginable agony is both deeply moving and profoundly dark. Inu Arashi lost his one leg and Nekomamushi lost his one arm. Fact number 5, the annihilation of the Lulusia kingdom. In the flash that reshaped the entire world map, the kingdom of Lulusia vanished. No declaration of war, no warning, just a column of light descending from the sky, leaving the colossal, bottomless hole in the ocean where a nation of innocent people used to live. This was the Mother Flame, the weapon of mass destruction wielded by the secret ruler of the world, Narona Imu. It demonstrated that entire population are nothing more than ants, to be squashed when they become inconvenient, and it shattered any illusion that the world government's power is just political. Fact number 4, the native hunting games of God Valley. If you thought the celestial dragon couldn't sink lower, God Valley is the oasis. Once every few years, the most privileged of the world nobles would gather on the unmarked island for a native hunting competition. They would release slaves, humans, and other species into a wild and hunt them for sport, keeping score of their kills. This disgustingly casual massacre was a festival to them. The island itself was eventually wiped off the face of the earth to cover up an incident involving the Rocks pirate. But the fact that such a game existed is the purest evil.
Fact number 3, Sugar's hobby horror. The devil fruit powers in One Piece are often whimsical, but the hobby fruit is a nightmare dressed as child's play. Sugar can turn anyone into a living toy with a single touch. The moment it happens, every memory of that person is permanently erased from the minds of everyone who knew them. Husbands forget wives, parents forget children. The toys remain fully conscious, forced to work as slaves in the underground, unable to cry out. Kairos, the great warrior, watched his own daughter grow up without any recollection of him, and his wife, Scarlet, died in his toy arms with no idea who he was. Fact number 2, the hungry rampages of Toto Land. Emperor Big Mom's territory, Toto Land, is advertised as a paradise where all races live in harmony. In reality, it's a theme park built over a ticking time bomb. When Big Mom's hunger pangs for a specific sweet strike, no one is safe. She will rampage through entire towns, draining the life force of her own subjects, and even eat her own children if they fail to satiate her fast enough. The residents live in perpetual, cheerful terror, knowing that at any moment the queen might devour them. The sweetness of the islands is flavored with the constant taste of fear.
Fact number 1, Laugh Tale and the joyful tragedy of the world. And finally, the ultimate dark fact, the One Piece itself. When Gold D. Roger and his crew reached the final island, they found the true history, the Rio Poneglyph, and whatever treasure Joy Boy left behind. And what did they do? They laughed. Joy Boy's apology, the absurdity of the truth, the futility of it all, it filled them with uncontrollable mirth. Roger named the island Laugh Tale, and he went to his execution with a smile, launching a grand pirate age, knowing that the world is essentially a grand, tragic comedy. The darkness is this. The biggest joke in history is likely the revelation that the world has been living a lie so absurd, so profoundly broken, that all you can do is laugh in the face of it. And that concludes the 20 darkest facts about One Piece. From the genocide of entire kingdoms to the quiet horror
Oda's
of a
world
mother's
is a
sacrifice.
staggering blend of light
These are
and
the stories
shadow.
that make Luffy's quest for freedom so meaningful because the world he aims to overthrow
If this
is
video
one of
sent a few
unimaginable
shivers
horror.
down
Down
your
your
button,
spine. Share your own disturbing One Piece fact in the
and
comments.
subscribe
to join the crew for more deep dives.
Until
next time, keep sailing and never lose your smile. Because in this world, it's one of the bravest things you can do.